أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ورتل القرآن ترتيلا.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you for joining us for lesson 9 in program Tarteel. Assalamu alaikum. Everything is okay with you? Yes. Okay, good. Now you can see that this is Surah Al-Kawthar, Suratul Kawthar, and it has 4 verses, and we have covered this surah with regards to different rules of recitation in previous lessons. For example, we covered how to pronounce the articulation point of the letter tha, like a'tainaka al-kawthar, tha, and then we covered tha as well in Surah Al-Falaq lesson number 2. Now this letter has been highlighted with red color, and here is one rule of recitation which we are going to explore today. Now we start the recitation first, and then when I come here you have to concentrate what I do with the nasal sound. This is noon with sukoon, with jazm. This is Saakin. So let's start with ta'awudh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Now make sure that we covered on this the word noon with tashdid and followed by alif madda, and there is a smaller madda on that, al-mad al-munfasil, okay, detached prolongation. And again this ta is thick and this tha softly pronounced, okay. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر.
إنا أعطيناك الكوثر.
فصل لربك وانحر.
فصل لربك وانحر.
Okay, tell me what I have done on this noon Saakin. I have prolonged it or I kept it short?
You kept it
short. So it means that there is a one rule, because many times I prolonged nasal sound on noon with jazm, noon with sukoon, but here I kept it short. I did not prolong. So it means there is some rule here which we want to identify and practice today. Now the last line or last verse of this surah, now again I will remind you that this noon with tashdid, we have to prolong nasal sound here, prolong up to 2 seconds. And then here on al-abtar there is ba with sukoon, and there is a haruful qalqala, this is letters of jerk. So let's practice. Inna shaniyaka huwal abtar.
Inna shaniyaka huwal abtar.
Now I would ask you to each one recite this beautiful surah. I would ask Abdullah first.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
Okay, Jazakumullah, MashaAllah. Okay, Hassan.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
Okay, Jazakumullah, thank you very much. Only one quick point, that when you make a waqf, when you pause at the end, then softly pause. There should be not any trace of jerk. One har, okay, softly. Otherwise, it's okay. Okay, bye.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر.
You have not prolonged, this smaller madda, this madda munfasil, you have to do this one.
إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر.
Now this two lam, fasalli, and the second, the first one is mushaddad with the letter with tashdid, and the second one just with kasra. So a little, making a difference between the two, and each letter should be distinct.
فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر.
Jazakumullah, thank you very much. Now, because we are focusing or concentrating on noon Saakin. So what is noon Saakin? Noon Saakin and tanween. The letter noon with a sukoon is called noon Saakin. As you know that any letter, whether that is a ba or ayn or ghain or lam, if it has a sukoon or jazm, it is called Saakin. As any letter having a tashdid or shadda sign is called mushaddad, hardened. So this letter noon with a sukoon or jazm is called noon Saakin. And there are special rules concerning noon Saakin. Now, noon Saakin may come either in between letters of a word, in between a letter of a word, or at the end of a word. Okay? As you know that a word cannot be started, cannot be recited if it is Saakin. Because a letter, the first letter should have some vowel on that one, short vowel. For example, fatha, kasra, dhamma. Okay? So a Saakin letter may come in between letters of the words or at the end. Now you can see here that some examples have been given here. And the first example which you can find here is taken from Suratul Fatiha, very well known. Okay? Now here, noon, which has been highlighted, this is with sukoon, with jazm. An'amta. And again, this noon with sukoon. But here is a rule that sometime we have to prolong that noon Saakin and sometime we don't have to. For example, the first one, according to the rules of recitation, we are not required, we are not going to prolong the noon Saakin here. But the second word, unzila, which is in the first 17 verses or first ruku of Surah Al-Baqarah, وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ, here we have to prolong. And again the next one, minhum, I would say we don't have to prolong. So it means that we have to make a difference between these two nun saakin, where we have to prolong and where we don't have to prolong according to the rules. Like the word, the first line is examples of nun saakin in between the letters of a word. Okay, now for example, the 4 examples have been given. Now in each example there are some letters before that and after that, but in the second line each example or each word which has been taken from the Holy Quran is ending on nun saakin. Like for example, man, wa minan nasi man yaqulu min rabbihim ulaika ala hudam min rabbihim, in kuntum sadiqin, kun fayakun. Okay, so we come to this conclusion that nun saakin may come in between the letters of a words, in between a word or at the end, and there are certain rules where we have to prolong that nun saakin and where we have to keep it short. Now what is tanween? This is another issue. Double strokes over or below a letter are technically called tanween. Now as you can see here, and it has been highlighted in these 3 examples, now the word sawa'un, hamza carries a dammatain, double strokes of damma. Ragadan, innal ladhina kafaru sawa'un alayhim. Now ragadan, haythu shi'tuma. Okay, now ragadan, on dal there is a fathatain, this is called tanween. And the word aynin aniya, now again noon has a kasratain. So tanween has basically double fathatain, double kasra or double fatha, dhamma. Okay, and these 3 examples have been given here. Now you may have noticed that tanween produce nasal sound. As nun saakin produce nasal sound, tanween also play the same role. Tanween can never come in between a word. Nun saakin may come in between a word, like for example kuntum, unzila, but tanween can never come in between a word. A word can end at the end, like for example sawaun. Okay, and this is not part of our program, but this is just to make you understand that tanween is a sign of a noun, Arabic noun. Okay, now it will always appear at the end of a word. Secondly, nun saakin and tanween have different shapes, but their pronunciation is the same, because they are producing nasal sound. Now there are special rules concerning nun saakin and tanween. 2 kinds of nasal sound we have discussed earlier, that where we have to prolong, where we have to keep short. So in broad category, these are basically 2 categories. Clear and short nasal sound about 1 second, as we did in 1 har, 1 second, clear and short nasal sound. And the second, sustained, concealed and prolonged nasal sound, as we did many times practice in Surah Al-Falaq, like min sharri ghasikin idha waqab. Okay, or like for example noon mushaddad, that is a different area, but anyway, sometime we have to prolong tanween sound and sometime we don't have to prolong tanween and this nun saakin sound. In this lesson we shall focus on clear and short nasal sound produced by nun saakin or tanween up to 1 second. Okay. Clear and short nasal sound, technically this is called al-idhar. Idhar means manifestation, clear pronunciation. where the letter is distinct, is not concealed. It's only one second. And clear pronunciation of noon, sakin or tanween without prolonging nasal sound is called idhar, manifestation. Now, huruf al-idhar, letters of manifestation. As you know that there are 5 letters of jerk. Huruf al-qalqala, letters of jerk, echo. Now, in this case, there are 6 letters. Basically, you know that there are 29 letters in Arabic language, and out of 29 letters, the following six letters are produced from throat. Now, there are 5 domains from where there are articulation points of different letters of 29 letters. Some letters are produced from lips, like meme, ab, okay? But these 6 letters specially produced from this throat pipe. 6 letters. That's why it is called letters of throat as well. Letters of idhar, letters of manifestation, and letters of throat, because these 6 letters are specially produced from here, this. And you know that how to find out the articulation point and exit point of any letter. Now, in this case, there are 2 rows and 6 columns. The first one is Hamza alif. Alif, not alif sakin, but Hamza alif. And Hamza alif, you know that alif which carries fatha, kasra or dhamma, like unzila. Okay? And again this Hamza. Now in the first, this row, you can find this is the alif, which is not silent. It should carry something, you know, fatha, kasra, dhamma. That is called Hamza alif. Or, you know, this Hamza as well, original Hamza. But I have put in the same one category. Sometime the first one comes, sometime in second one comes. Okay, like for example, sawa'un. Now on Hamza there is a tanween. Okay, and sometime the Hamza alif comes. Anyway, in examples we will find out, identify. The second one is ha. Now, if you put a fatha on Hamza alif or Hamza alif with fatha and say ah, you will feel that there is an articulation point and exit point coming from throat. Ah, letters of throat, ha. And then ayn is a particular special Arabic sound. It's coming from the middle of throat, ah. Okay, and then ha, ghain, and kha. So these are the 6 letters which are called huruful idhar, letters of throat or letters of manifestation. When I say letters of manifestation, it means that we have to pronounce noon sakin or tanween sound clearly, shortly, with clear pronunciation, and we have to manifest without any change in the exit point from where it is articulated. You understand everything?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, rule to remember, we are talking about if noons. Now, this is important area which you have to memorize, not in parrot-like fashion, but by practice, that become your part of nature. This rule, which you have to remember this time with practice, that should be written in your mind through practice, and then you can explain to others. Now, remember, if noon, sakin or tanween is followed by any of the 6 mentioned letters, the nasal sound will be kept short and clear for about 1 second. Remember, when I say, many times I discuss 1 second, 2 second or 3 second. It doesn't mean that when you are reciting the Holy Quran, you have to keep watching, you know, the watch. Okay, this is just an you know, understanding or an assessment, okay, of the time. It could be 1 count, 1 beat, or 1 second. But because this is the minimum unit of measuring time, that's why I mentioned that one. All right. Now, example for practice. Now here there are some examples where noon sakin is written there, like for example min ibadina, and sometime tanween is there, so we have to practice. Now as I mentioned, now in the first example where noon sakin is followed by ayn, and ayn is one of those 6 letters of idhar. Now here noon sakin will not be prolonged, will be manifested, will be clearly pronounced, about 1 second, 1 count, 1 beat. So in the same way, I will go first with you, and then I will ask you, each one of you, to give me that demonstration. Okay? Min ibadina.
Min
ibadina.
Now look, I did not prolong min 1 second. Did not make any change in the exit point, not prolonged. Min, but it doesn't mean that we have to pronounce so quickly that the due right had not been given to it. Every letter should be given its due right, its due time. Okay? Min ibadina.
Min ibadina.
Tanhituna.
Tanhituna.
Minhum.
Minhum.
I have not highlighted here. Now this noon sakin followed by ha. Okay? So this is quite natural, basically. It means that these highlighting or color coding is just for practice. It should not be taken, it should be taken like, for example, as a assistant, helpers. But as soon as through practice, we should get rid of this color coding or this color system. Because through practice, the rule should be alive and fresh in our mind. Okay? This is just for learning and practice. So if you know the rule, whether it has been highlighted with red or blue or green, becomes meaningless, isn't it? All right. So what we have to do here, minhum or minhum?
Minhum.
Minhum. Okay. Min ghayri.
Min ghayri.
Now example of tanween, and it is called noon tanween. If that is noon sakin, it is noon tanween. And tanween means basically to produce nasal sound. Arshun azimun.
Arshun azimun.
Azabun alimun.
Azabun alimun.
Aliman hakiman.
Aliman hakiman.
Now, I have not made a pause at the end of each example. But I would ask you, for the sake of practice, that when you pronounce these examples, you make a waqf. Okay? Though, because we are not this time focusing on that waqf, but gradually we are progressing towards, or we are going towards learning those important rules of waqf as well. All right? Okay, so I would ask you first, start the whole line.
Min ibadina tanhituna.
Now you have to waqf, make a waqf. When you make a waqf, then that short vowel, fatha kasra dhamma, that is deleted, and only the consonant remains active.
Tanhitun minhum min ghayr arshun azim adhabun alim aliman hakima.
Well done. Jazakumullah. Okay.
Min ibadina tanhitun minhum min khayr
Ghayr.
Arshun azim azabun alim.
No.
Alim.
Remember, this is another similar sounding letter. It is a common mistake that Hamza Alif could be stepped into Ain sound, and meaning is totally changed. Because Azabun Alimun means painful punishment, and Alim is knowing. This is Al-Alim is an attribute of Allah the Almighty, and Alim, anyone, is knowing. So do again.
عذاب أليم عليما حكيما.
Well done, mashallah. Now, you may have noticed that apart from the first example, in each example you made, when you are making waqf, then the short vowel was deleted. That was not in pronunciation. Because the rule is that when a word, where you are going to make a waqf, that is ending on huruful mad, a letters of prolongation, that remains active. Like, for example, min ibadina, because alif is there, alif madda, so that would be pronounced. But in other cases, like for Hakima as well, but other cases that short vowel is missed. All right, okay, do again.
من عبادنا تنحتون منهم من غير عرش عظيم عذاب أليم عليما حكيما.
Okay, Jazakumullah. Now, this is more practice example, and these are taken from the last 10 chapters of the Holy Quran, which are well known in our, during our prayers, salat, we have. Okay, I will ask you, each one of you, recite only one line. Okay, first line, second, and third, and we have to complete. Okay, start from Abdullah.
The first one?
Yes, nicely, properly. Okay, make sure that here, look again, the highlighted and then Hamza Alif. Okay, because you know the rule, you can, but otherwise, for example, here on Noon Saakin Min, you have to prolong, because that does not come under that category. Okay, start please.
ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب
ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد.
MashaAllah.
ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب
وآمنهم من خوف.
Again, min, noon, sakin again, properly, do that. وآمنهم.
وآمنهم من خوف.
وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل.
Okay, Jazakumullah. Now, this is the time for assignment, and this is the last bit of our lesson. Identify those places in Suratul Alaq, chapter 96. You may remember, Surah Alaq in what context? It's very important episode of Islamic history is associated with that one.
Yes.
Any idea, Hassan?
The first revelation.
First revelation. Okay, first. So you have to identify those places where Noon, Sakin, and Tanween are followed by any letter of throat, i.e. letters of manifestation, huruful idhar, and where the rule of idhar will take place. All right?
Yeah.
So that is the conclusion of lesson 9. I would ask you, and I would say to you that practice and practice. That is the best way to learn and memorize the rules. Okay? And inshallah ta'ala, step by step, you will be becoming a good reciter.
Inshallah.
Viewers of MTA, we have concluded lesson number 9, and until the next lesson, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم